Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 95. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you our UCL Roundup review. Bayern eliminate PSG. We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about Spurs and Milan. Alex, I know that you cannot wait to talk about this game. I can already tell the emotion seeping out of you. But guys, before we begin, remember to basically like, subscribe, and comment. But I post a link on Twitter right before we start at Kool Aid Podcast 10. If any of you guys want to join, always feel free. Just click the link, and then you'll be able to join and basically discuss with us. But the first game that we're going to be talking about, Bayern PSG. Now it ended in a 2-0 win for Bayern, just like how they beat Barcelona. We remember back in the when we faced them in the I
First
think it was
leg,
like
yeah.
in the first leg. It's a very tough game because when you analyze the game, I would say that PSG were better than Bayern in that first half, but slightly. I thought the game overall was very even. I thought PSG had some good chances, which if they put away, it's a completely different game. But Bayern, once again, they show their class, and individual mistakes come to haunt PSG again. For example, last year you remember Donnarumma, Marquinhos. This year it's Verratti. It's just and we're going to be diving in. But Alex, I want to get your quick thoughts on the whole Bayern PSG game.
Well, I think we saw a confident Bayern play a weak PSG team, and I say weak not in the sense of they don't have the players, but I mean weak in the sense that it's not a team that plays well together. It's not a team with great chemistry. Um, we see definitely that if the offense, like if the top three, or in this case, Mbappe and Messi, because Neymar wasn't there, if they're not at their best and they're not producing, then the team just has no direction. And obviously, goals win game, but um, we can see that PSG's defense isn't anything great either. Although Sergio Ramos, I think, has had a great season so far, considering all the injuries and the age. Um, and but I don't know. It's a team that doesn't fill me with confidence in Europe because I don't know. I feel like when you look at it, they don't. Their midfield is I would say
No,
average. I think Verratti. I used to be a big fan of Verratti back in the day. A few years ago, like I thought he was a great midfielder. And I still think he's a good midfielder, but maybe he's a little overrated sometimes when people talk about. It's weird because he's not an overrated player because he's not someone they talk of in the moment, but when they mention him, they give him so much praise. But um, I don't think he was there today. And a player um, that I've grown to dislike because of how much credit he gets, Donnarumma. I'm so sorry, but he has not shown up to the hype, and he has not lived up to the hype that he was given 2 years ago, a year ago, in his time in PSG. I'm so sorry. His ball distribution is terrible. And with that, I'm mainly referring to him with the ball at his feet. He's a goalie that
Mhm.
has no confidence with it. Um, and that's fine. You don't have to be Ederson, or I don't know, maybe sometimes Allison too. He's pretty shifty with the ball, but you don't have to be like that. I'm just saying you got to be more confident. I remember clearly one of the goals against Real Madrid was because of a mistake with him
Yeah, he's got
by
last
right
season.
Donnarumma with the ball at his feet. So you look at the
Yeah,
game today, you see mistakes from Donnarumma, you see Verratti. I just thought overall, I thought Bayern played great defense.
yeah. Their defense was
Alfonso
on
Davies
super.
making, yeah, Alfonso
Mhm.
Davies making great last ditch tackles. I
Delict
think they
with
were
that
just they're just
clearance.
they're just a very solid team. It's a team that they attack when they have to, they defend when when they need to as well. They're very compact. They're very one minded. So you see it in their game, and props to them. I don't think I personally think they've outlived my expectations. Like they've exceeded them. Um, just because considering the players they've lost and considering their, I would say, relatively poor start to the season, I didn't think they were going to play as well as they have in Europe, but props to them. I just think it's worth mentioning that yes, Bayern were good, but I think PSG were, I wouldn't say terrible, but they were mediocre. They were definitely mediocre today, and
Yeah,
I would say in the last couple seasons with the team that they have, they should have been winning the Champions League easily.
I mean, they should have. But remember, this is like, I think PSG as a club has been run very poorly. For example,
That's true as well.
very poorly. The signings being made. I thought when I thought when you compared the bench of both teams and the player that were coming on, you just see the gulf in class. For example, Bayern, they were able to bring on Sane, Gnabry, Sadio Mane, Cancelo, all these players coming from the bench, and they
Mm.
were still winning. Well, what did PSG bring? They brought in Etiquette, Juan Bernat, um, a youngster, and that was basically it. The
Right.
difference,
PSG is a team that lacks depth for sure. Their
yeah,
starting
exactly,
11 is their best players there for a reason. So
yeah, exactly.
they have no depth.
Uh-huh. I would say like the PSG only have a couple world class players, and that's just like if, for example, it's just Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, and that's it. I think Ramos, Hakimi, he has his days. Nuno Mendes, he has his days. But Ramos, he isn't the same. He played very well in that first leg, and
Mm.
as you mentioned, Donnarumma did cost them that first goal. For example, in that first goal, it was Koeman right back. Nuno Mendes should be doing a lot better and keeping aware of Kingsley Coman. Kingsley Coman takes off the shot, but it's a very poor shot. If Donnarumma save, it's an easy save. But Donnarumma, it goes right underneath his arms, and it's 1-0. And there you
Mm.
go. He should have done a lot better for that. And today, and we're going to talk about this disaster classes in both legs. Verratti, the first goal that Bayern scored in this game, it was from a Verratti turnover. He was trying to dribble off the ball. I don't know why you're trying to dribble in that situation. Just clear it.
Yeah.
And I do understand that maybe that pass is not great, but you clear the ball in that situation. When
Yeah.
you're right there in front of goal and you have a couple guys running, just clear it. Just clear it. Throw it out for like a corner, maybe. Just don't invite pressure. Don't lose the ball in that situation. But if he loses it, there you go, and Bayern punish you. And that's what you get at the highest level. When you see the mistake that Sommer made earlier in the game, Verratti. No, it wasn't Verratti. It was Vitinha who had the chance to basically put PSG 1-0. I thought if he kept a little bit cooler of a head and just took an extra touch, that'd be an easy 1-0 and PSG are taking control of the tie. But no, Vitinha, who I thought played very who didn't play the best game. I thought he played very poorly as well. He takes out the quick shot, the lick with a huge block. I think that basically saves them the tie and wins them the game. That block, that's how important that block is. And then you see the two contracts. You see the state of mind of Bayern, who are like on focus on their high intensity, and PSG who make mistakes. It's just, and I don't know where PSG go from here. Like, what would you do? Because this is the fifth year out of seven, which they um failed to reach the quarterfinals. So they get out in the round of 16. The other two times they reached the final and the semis, but they were both knocked out. In the past 7 years, they failed to win the Champions League. What do
Yeah.
Bayern do? Do you break up the project, or what's your mindset?
Well, I think I think PSG is a team that has done excellent business in the past, even though we know they've also done some poor business. It's very hit or miss with PSG, right? When they make transfers, obviously getting Messi and Neymar, you know, respectively, are great transfers to get. I thought excuse me, I thought Sergio Ramos, although there were doubts regarding him joining, I thought it was a good transfer as well because they needed the defense. Hakimi was good. Um, so I don't know. I feel like PSG don't have the best academies, and that is, you know, that isn't any throwing any shade at them. It's just true that they're not a team like, say, Benfica, Barcelona, Ajax. So it's not an easy thing to for them to just develop the talent. But if you have to go out there and buy them, like teams like Bayern, who do mainly that, they buy their talent. And you do that in a smart way. I don't see PSG going any further if they don't strengthen their midfield significantly. Because the defense, I feel like defense is easier to fix than the midfield. Because I'm not
Yeah,
saying I'm a defender in real life, so I'm not saying defense is easy by any means. I'm just saying when you think about it, the amount of technical ability and the amount of skill that goes into being a midfielder is very high.
yeah,
So to get world class midfielders that can work well in the system and help the defense, but also control the game and help the attack is very hard.
yeah,
And I don't think they have the means to get to that level. Yeah, they definitely
yeah,
need new players. Defense, again, I think their main problem is center backs. I don't think fullbacks is necessarily a problem for them, but
No, yeah,
I don't know.
definitely.
They definitely have to go to the transfer window thinking
Mm.
of
And
big
then
purchases.
in that midfield, because for example, when you looked at this game against Bayern, I thought in both legs, I thought they were completely overrun on the midfield. I thought Bayern's midfield were more intense. They have more quality. PSG weren't able to string two passes together. You had
Mm,
Messi dropping in so deep to try to get like a long ball to Kylian Mbappe, which is very difficult when Mbappe is up against two, maybe three defenders. And
right.
that PSG midfield just they offered no support. Yes, you have runners in there, but if you offer no creativity going forward and no link up passes, no linking between midfield and attack, it just well, what can Messi do? And then your offense suffers it.
Right.
Um,
No, and listen, I don't think Messi had a great game either, but you got to understand why, right? It's
yeah,
a very difficult situation when you're playing the way you're playing.
yeah, it
Um,
was just like that. It was just like it's a game where I thought PG as a whole played poorly. It just it, it's tough because this is a project had so much money invested, and for the results it has given, it's very poor.
yeah,
Um,
and it makes you wonder, right? Like how much of the spending is actually worth it because you
mhm.
have a lot of big player names now. I think PSG could solve half of their problems by selling Mbappe in the summer for an insanely high fee, which I know they'll do. They'll probably sell him for like 140 or 150. I could
Well,
easily see. I mean,
the-
listen,
but would you want to sell Mbappe?
yes, because if you get rid of Mbappe, you get a lot of money that you can invest into different parts of the team. Now, PSG already has money, so they're not
For
a.
example, well, why not, for example, sell Messi and sell
Mhm.
Neymar and keep
Well,
Mbappe as like the figurehead?
Messi's implied. I didn't mention it because it's implied that he will leave.
Yeah,
But doesn't Messi leave on a free transfer?
yeah, he does, he does.
So again, that makes. I mean, unless you
Yeah,
want to sell him before, but that will make no sense.
no, no,
You'll
no.
be losing money.
No, for example, I don't think they can. It's just like that. You let Messi leave on a free, let him go
Mhm.
wherever, and then you try to look to sell Neymar, and just you with that money that you save from the wage bill, try and invest in that midfield and invest in the defense. But then you're also gonna have to invest in forwards because
Mm. So to have people to play alongside. Listen, no, I agree with you. Right, I'm not saying Mbappe it wouldn't be the center of the project like that. That's another way to look at it. I just
yeah.
think he's a player that clearly wants to leave the team at some point. He's very young. He's not a player that you can expect to just stay there for a few more years, especially if he's not winning the Champions League. He's a player that's highly competitive, has been to finals, has won finals. Obviously, he's won the World Cup.
Hmm.
So with that level of skill and ability comes a lot of ambition too, and I think he's gonna outgrow PSG personally. But if you do build around Mbappe, you got to think of exciting new talent. You got to think of players like Leao. You got to think of players like Gonzalo Ramos. Um, you got to start thinking of young talent that
Yeah.
can go in there and help. But mainly for sure, the midfield will be one. Now, moving on from the PSG Bayern game. Before we talk about the disaster class today from Spurs, I wanted to recap real quick on yesterday's games, which I thought were also very interesting.
Yeah.
Give me Benfica. Now,
Oh my god.
listen,
But okay, okay. I was gonna mention this. Like, well, do you want to say who you have as a favorite to win the tournament towards the end of the episode, or do you want to tell me right now?
I'll tell you toward the end, but
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, Benfica is such a joy to watch. I love watching that team so much.
Benfica are so like fluent in attack.
That is one of the best transitions from
Fluid.
midfield to attack that I've seen
Yeah.
in the team as of late is Benfica. Like the way they move the ball through the midfield and just get it out to the wingers and then the forward. Like they're playing beautiful football right now.
And then you have to think this is a team without Enzo Fernandez. Imagine how the team would be playing with Enzo Fernandez.
No, it would be insane.
And we forget this Benfica team, they beat PSG to top their group.
Hmm.
Benfica topped their group, but PSG didn't.
They're my
Um,
underdogs for the tournament.
no,
To be
yeah,
honest, they're
well,
my dark horses.
it's between them and Napoli
That's true. I
because
forgot about Napoli.
because Napoli have been playing very well. Napoli has
That's
been.
another team that I really like, and I,
I
I really I know they're gonna win the Serie A, but I would like to see them get far. Now that I don't have any team that I directly support, so
yeah.
that's another team that I like. But I mean, not much to say there. I expected the domination. 5-1 is a very comfortable.
No, but Benfica just absolutely just destroyed Club Brugge.
Yeah, but did you really doubt it though? Like, no
No,
offense to Club Brugge, but I mean Benfica
no,
is
no, no, no. But Benfica is a European powerhouse. But 5-1 is just like whoa, whoa.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
true.
And then
Now a game that I'll talk about real quick that made me really mad yesterday was the Chelsea and Dortmund game, mainly because
oh,
I think it was a robbery.
it was a robbery. Why?
The retake of the penalty should have not been.
It shouldn't. But there was encroachment though.
The thing is, like,
Because for example, if there's because like at first it was being said like the goalkeeper was off his line, and that's false because the goalkeeper was not off his line. If the penalty was going to be retaken because of the goalkeeper being off his line, then I would say it's a robbery. But because there was encroachment, because for example, people because like people encroached like in the penalty box before the penalty was taken, then yeah, I understand it being retaken. This is the same thing that happened for Lewandowski, because remember again against I think it was the game against France where they were losing. Lewandowski had his took a penalty to make it 3-1, and at first he missed, but then he had to retake it because of the encroachment. So I mean, I
listen, I don't know. All I know is the refereeing was a little
you
iffy.
think so?
Yeah, I don't like it when Chelsea by the referees, but
Yeah,
they learned from us in that semifinal. But for real though, all I will say is I really didn't want Chelsea to win, mainly because I hate them. They're big rivals
I
of.
didn't want Chelsea to win either, and it's because okay, when you look at Chelsea's
And wait,
performance,
before you continue, they don't deserve it. I mean, listen, that's football. Stuff like
yeah,
this happens.
yeah,
But
stuff like that
Dortmund had a
happens.
perfect record until playing against them, and Chelsea have been playing horribly.
Yeah,
I believe this is the
mm.
first game in the whole year that they've had more than a goal.
Yeah, more than a goal. This is like the first time in this year,
That's
and
insane.
and over like I think 2 or 3 months. Um, but it's just but here's the thing: Chelsea did play good in that first half, and not in the first half, in the first leg. I thought
Mhm.
they had some very good chances, and with some better finishing, they win that game in Germany.
Right.
And so I wasn't and then on top of that, I had a feeling that Chelsea were going to win this game, but I don't think with this manager they're going to win the Champions League, and I don't want Chelsea to win the Champions League at all, just because like the Chelsea is one of the team I hate. But you have to think, when was the last time an English manager won the Champions League? You can't remember.
Have
So
they ever?
I don't remember, but I saw the stat. I'm gonna pull it up. But the last time like an English team won, it was like years ago.
Yeah.
I
Well, I
think
mean,
it was
I don't think there's been a lot of good English managers. I mean, is that British? Sure, you have people like Alex Ferguson, but English, as in from England,
yeah, very rarely. Like
they
who
don't
actually
produce
wins?
great managers.
They don't. It's just not their culture. Um,
But
but
listen, yeah, real
mm,
quick, I will say this: I really like that Dortmund team. I like Jude Bellingham. I like
Jude
Adeyemi.
Bellingham, a World Cup winner, checks his pocket and he sees Jude Bellingham in there. Jude Bellingham did not appear in both legs. I'm sorry, but like Chelsea just like cut his price in like half. It's just like that because like he didn't show up.
Oh no, I agree. And listen, this is why I'll never say Pedri and Gavi are not as good as the whole Jamal Musiala and Jude Bellingham is just the English media trying to boast
Yeah,
of their talent, as they always do. And of course, most of the English media are United fans, and you know
yeah.
how they feel about Barca.
Yeah,
But
United or Liverpool, I would say.
United and Liverpool, but either way, they,
Uh-huh.
they hate when Spanish players go like that. But Pedri and Gavi are much better than both of them. I'm so
Of
sorry. Like
course, this is just like
I'm not even willing to debate it. But
that.
be that as it may, I will say that excuse me.
And this is
The,
back to back wins for Chelsea. This is like the first
yeah,
time it
I
happened
mean,
this year.
good for them. They're not gonna get past quarterfinals, whoever they play.
Hmm.
But
Well, I mean, if they, for example, if they, how do you fancy their chances against Milan?
no, they're losing. They're losing.
They
I'm so
they
sorry.
they're losing against
Yeah,
Milan.
Spurs are a counter-attacking team, and under Conte, they're a very defensive team. But they
Oh
were attacking more than Chelsea has attacked in months.
no, but
I mean,
here's the thing. Chelsea they beat Milan in both instances, home and away, because remember
no,
they
that's
were in their
that's.
group.
I know that's fine. I still don't think they'll win it.
You don't think they're going to win it?
Yeah, but look, all I want to say about the Chelsea and Dortmund game is I don't think the refereeing was, and I'm not just talking about the penalty. I'm talking the game as a whole. I don't think
Okay.
the refereeing was always fair, but then again, I think Chelsea played a better game for the
Yeah.
most part, and they won.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I thought Kai Havertz had an amazing game. I thought Koulibaly was rock solid in the back.
Yeah, I mean, Chelsea's defense isn't the problem; it is their offense.
Yeah, exactly. If they can score goals, and with that back three, I think they have a solid chance of making it far in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Just if I think if they play some of the big boys, for example, Bayern, I think
They're getting
they're gonna
slapped.
trouble. If Bayern, Real Madrid, any of these two teams, I they're gonna get slapped. Um, just that's what Chelsea has to do. Just keep on this winning momentum, and we'll see how they go in the league because both instances that they won a Champions League, they're doing very poor in the league, but they
Mm-hmm.
somehow managed to win the Champions League. And both instances, they came out of Group E as winners. They won the Champions League.
Mm.
So
I mean, I really don't think that'll happen, but
I pray it doesn't. I pray that I hope I see Chelsea Bayern next game.
hmm.
I really hope.
But yeah, to round it off, we're gonna talk really quick about one
I
of the
know,
worst games.
I know you're so excited to talk about this game, Alex. Yeah, I
No,
see
not
that smile on
even.
your face. I see it on your smile. It says, "Guys, we're going to be talking about Spurs Tottenham at home." Tell me what an amazing performance Tottenham put.
I mean, it was terrible. Listen, I already mourned today. Like, it's fine. I'm past it. But I haven't seen Spurs play such bad offense. I guess you could say. Like, I haven't seen them attack so poorly against a team that just sits back in a while. And I know Milan is a very Italian team in the sense that they love defending, they drop back, lots of tackles, stuff like that. Like I get it, and they counterattack. But how are you gonna tell me that with a front three of Kulusevski, Kane, and Son, you barely register any shots on target? A matter of fact, I can't think of a single of either three
they
of them,
had they had two shots on target.
and it was a Kane header and a Højbjerg shot. So,
Yeah,
and the Kane header was nice. It was toward the end of the game. He was unlucky. The goalkeeper got his hands on it right at the almost at the post. But this game,
are we going to talk about Conte about his European
yeah,
record?
I was gonna say no. His European record is terrible. I believe he's only gotten out of the round of 16 once.
Hey, I'm pretty sure that Potter has a better record than Conte in the UCL.
Well, all I know is
Quidditch,
yeah.
Hufflepuff, Potterball.
All I know is that
Oh,
I don't know what the future will be like with Conte. I was a huge fan of him when he came in because I had seen what he did in with Inter, and of course historically with Chelsea he was good too. But I don't know, man.
no, well,
There's
okay. But what went wrong for Spurs?
Well, today was just a matter of like poor attacking. Like they just couldn't get to the end of it. I thought Emerson Real had a good game. Kulusevski was playing well too. Pedro Porro when he came in, he did fine. But on the left hand side of the attack, I think we've been very weak. Son did not have a lot of game involvement today. It was very bad to see. Um, Kane is doing what he's been doing best all season and is getting on the end of crosses and trying to build up play as much as he can. I can't ask for a lot more than he's already doing because he is having a great season. He's the
Yeah.
second goal scorer in the Prem.
And it's crazy to think that a player such as Harry Kane, a Premier League legend, hasn't won a trophy.
Mm.
Is he going to end his career
Well, you
without winning
got
a
you got to
trophy?
think of it. I don't think Alan Shearer won a trophy, or if he did, it's like one or two. Like, and he's the all-time goal scorer. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I mean,
No, but for example, do you think it's time for Harry Kane to move to a
yeah,
different
he's
club?
gonna leave. And I've already made terms with it. Like he's it's a matter of time. I mean, he's a great idol of mine, and he's one of my favorite players. But Do I think he's gonna leave? Yeah, and I understand it because you gotta be
But,
ambitious.
but for example, like last season, I think it was, or the season before, Man City put in an offer for like 100 million, and Spurs declined that.
Right, because I believe they wanted more than the price, but
Yeah, and
uh,
Harry Kane's contract like isn't ending anytime soon, I believe.
yeah, I believe it ends in 2024. But
Yeah,
regardless of that, do I think he's gonna leave? Yeah, I
maybe.
think Bayern will probably try to go for him because Bayern don't really have a striker right now, a proper nine.
Well, I mean, Choupo-Moting like he's been playing really well for Bayern, and if like
Who?
Choupo-Moting, and he
Oh yeah,
basically
yeah,
he
but
scored. I know exactly. They
I
they
get it,
want.
but there's levels to this. I
Yeah,
think
yeah. There's levels.
no disrespect to Moting, but come on.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would also see him at United to be honest, because United also don't have a proper striker. They have Marcus Rashford, but he's more of a winger, right?
yeah.
I mean, he can play striker just fine as we've seen, but I think he's more comfortable on the left. I don't know. I think Spurs need to figure it out. I don't think sitting sitting back with five players does it for you all the time. I
Should
think I
should,
can.
should have like for example, should Spurs have gone with like a more aggressive approach?
Yeah, I think they should have, but on top of that, I don't think players like Son should have started. If they're having poor form, start Richarlison.
Yeah, and Richarlison came out like towards the end of the game, he's saying like, "Hey, this has been a shit season," just
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
hasn't
I
been getting
saw the
enough
comments.
playtime. Yeah,
I don't think it's right of him to be saying it like that. I think it's a little immature and it definitely causes unnecessary tension, but it's true. You can't get mad at him for saying the truth, and if that's the way he feels, I agree with him. I think it maybe been a bit unfair with him. I think he deserves to have started some games. But for example, Danjuma didn't play
Danjuma. Okay.
at all, and I don't know why. He's a fast, good dribbler. Makes no sense to me. It's not even a matter of Stellini or Conte. I just think the system that we're using now doesn't work.
The 3-5-2
Yes,
doesn't work.
it's not even the formation though, right? It's um I don't know what it is. I just feel like the like yes, we're a counter-attacking team, but we're not counter-attacking. We're just defending, giving the other team all the chances they want. I will say this though, our midfield is not as bad as it seems. It's just not a great creative midfield. Like for example, look at Oliver Skip. He is such a good young player, and
Uh,
people don't realize this yet. But he's gonna be a top CDM at some point, or maybe a box to box eight. We'll see. He's very versatile. Like he did a great tackle today on Theo Hernandez, which I really liked because
yeah.
I find him incredibly annoying. Like he's always complaining about something. So I was happy he got tackled there, um, but yeah, Pierre Emile Højbjerg, he's also solid,
No.
but it's just there's a lack of creativity in the midfield, and we saw the attack carried last season toward the end of the season. I was
Huming
there.
Sung had like a monster season, like just like tying
Yeah,
Mohamed Salah for the Golden Boot.
listen, Heung-min Son is a consistent player. He's been scoring 10 plus goals almost every season for the last few seasons. And even if he doesn't, it's the chances he creates, right? And he's a threat. He's such a good player, but it hasn't been a season. And I mean, Kane is Kane. I still consider him the best number nine in the world. I know a lot of people are gonna disagree. I know they're gonna say no, it's Benzema, no, it's Lewandowski. Whoever you want, he's still in the top three. And
Definitely.
trophies don't matter. He's still an incredibly talented player.
So,
Um,
so well, look at. Would you say this exit is like a blessing in disguise? Because, for example, Man United and Liverpool, they're very strong in the league, and I don't think that Arsenal and Manchester City are going to drop out of the top four. So, would the Champions League exit help Spurs get that top four finish? Would you say that?
I don't think so because Spurs' biggest problem is their inconsistency. So I think they could honestly play like 40 games in a week, and they just have one of those weeks where they're on and they just win everything. But then they could just play like a game every week, and they would still, they would still play poorly. I just think it's the inconsistency they have. I don't think it's maybe for another team that'd be the case, but not for Spurs at least this season.
But then like
Um,
the amount of games you played, maybe the fatigue builds up.
well, no, of course, I'm not saying right that's obviously a factor. I'm
Yeah.
just sarcastically making the analogy there just to show you that I don't think this will do anything. I think we'll still lose games and drop points for no reason. But I think today is a time for the board to reflect. Maybe they should have backed Conte more. and I think they should. I think Conte's a good coach, or maybe Spurs aren't meant to really play like this. I thought the best attack from Spurs that I've ever seen was 2020, 2021 under Jose Mourinho.
Okay.
That was some of the best. And people will say, oh, well, you could argue 2017, 2015, 2016, Pochettino, but that
But,
Jose
but
Mourinho attack was something else.
but would you give that mostly to Harry Kane just because of the amazing form that he was in that season?
Well, but I think Harry Kane has been in good form for like the past 6, 7 seasons.
Hmm.
I just think that I don't know, the style felt more fluid. It was like a more pure counter attack. It almost reminds me of what we were doing toward the end of last season, right? That counter attack
Yeah.
from Spurs, they were just solid. They were winning
Hmm.
games left and right. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong right now. The defense isn't great. We don't have the best players. Although I mean, Romero is obviously a
Yeah.
monster, but he got sent off for a silly tackle today.
He did.
Couldn't have made. But I think our midfield is ultimately what lets us down the most. And I don't know. I feel like the culture on the club, not sufficient backing of coaches by the board. They don't give them the players they want. Can you believe Jose Mourinho wanted to sign Bruno Fernandes? Can you believe that? That's just one that I can think of at the top of my head.
No.
And they'll talk about rumors about possibly getting Guardiola from.
No, but it seems like he's going to Man City.
Right, it's City or Liverpool.
Yeah.
But they'll talk about transfer. I'm like, well, it's not gonna happen. And now the question arises: should Conte leave?
Yeah.
I honestly
Would
don't
you want him
know.
to leave?
I I would want us to win. I would want us to like win trophies, to just do good in the league and stuff. But whatever
But
helps
he's
us
gonna
do
need backing, for example. Like,
for sure. And I'm the first one that goes against people criticizing the coaches for bad results, especially when they haven't been there that long,
mhm.
because you got to remember the coach isn't the one on the field kicking the ball or making the decisions, making the shots. Like, yeah, he can give you an idea of what he wants to do, but if the players don't execute it properly, and I think that's a big part of what's happened this season. I think the players haven't had, collective, I don't think they've had a great season. We're also missing some players like Rodrigo Betancourt, who,
Yeah, he was a big
um,
miss.
a great player, and yeah, he has been missed dearly. It's a lot of things going wrong at the same time, but if Pochettino does come back, I wouldn't say no. I thought we were great under him, but at the same time, we never won anything with him. We got very close, but we always bottled it. So
Yeah. Yeah, and then you think about like that Champions League final, which Spurs like made, and then and they weren't
not
able to.
starting Lucas Moura was crazy.
I know. Well, like, ugh, and you basically had that. I mean, it's crazy
Well, I
because
mean, it was against a strong Liverpool side, but
it
the
was.
the handball wasn't a handball to begin with, but
But what's it called? It happens. It happens. But Alex, but before we round up the episode, who has impressed you the most? Who are you having as a favorite to win this competition? Because I personally think it's completely wide open.
I think, listen, and this is gonna be a very hot take. I think Benfica or Napoli are winning it.
You know what? I was about to say the exact same thing. I think Benfica or Napoli, they're going to make it extremely
Let me
far.
see how Napoli play. They play next week, right?
Yeah, they play next week. I think this is
Let,
all depending on the draw. If, for example, if Benfica, for example, get like a club like Chelsea or Milan, I think they go through.
mm.
I think they go through and they're in the semis.
And I think this season is up to 3 teams. I think it's Napoli, Benfica, or City. And I know City are also bottlers when it comes to the UCL. But the reason I say this is because this season their attack is so complete with Haaland and Alvarez. Plus, you can put Mares in there. You got De Bruyne. I don't know. I feel like their team is more stacked than it already was. And who knows? Maybe they choke against some team like they did against Madrid. But I don't see, and it's not even bias right now or rivalry. I don't see Madrid getting past quarterfinals.
Madrid getting past quarterfinals. Wait,
I
wait,
don't see it.
you don't see it? Well, I think they reach the semis, but I think they're knocked out against the Napoli, for example.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's what I'm saying. If they play like a team like a Benfica or a Napoli, they're gonna be in for a very tough time.
it's going to be very tough. But for example, you never count Real Madrid out. But for example, I'm saying this right now. Real Madrid are not winning the Champions League. Real Madrid win their favorites, then they never win it. It's just like that. And
But
everyone.
they're not even favorites this year. I wouldn't even put them as
No,
favorites.
no, no, no. After that win against Liverpool, I've went on social media and I've seen tons of people putting them Real Madrid winning again, Real Madrid winning again, and putting them as a favorites. And Real Madrid, when they're favorites, they never win it. It's just like that. They thrive being that, being put against the back and just like having to prove people wrong. But guys, that was it for tonight's episode. We gave you our reaction to all the UCL games. Bayern completely knock out PSG. Benfica are completely flying right now. And next week, we're going to have another exciting round of matches. We're going to see who advances. Can Liverpool mount a comeback against Real Madrid? What happens between the game of Napoli and Eintracht Frankfurt, Man City versus Leipzig, and Porto versus Inter? We're going to see some very exciting results. But as always, guys, like, subscribe, and comment. And we'll see you guys all in the next episode.